Walk with Your Doc is coming up on May the 11th, and today we're hanging out with a couple of doctors. How's my heart doing? Or my lungs?
Sounds great.
Sounds good, and I think I've got a pulse. Strong pulse. The show today has a heartbeat and a pulse. That's good news. You're watching Go Island. On today's show, a personal experience with the benefits of medical marijuana in Nanaimo, hosting a theater festival, and riding the rails on a road trip. All that and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. It's windy here in Maffeo Sutton Park, and we are here because on May the 11th there's an opportunity to walk with your doc, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Physical activity is the #1 most important thing you can do for yourself in maintaining good health, yet despite that, only 15% of Canadians get the 150 minutes per week of recommended exercise and physical activity. We're going to talk about what exactly is physical activity. What is a healthy body weight? There's some things that might surprise you. It's time now, though, to throw things over to Rayanne LaPlante. She's introducing us to a local woman who is benefiting directly from the use of medical marijuana. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is Dr. Derek Potterico, and he's preparing for the 3rd annual Walk with Your Doc, and it just so happens that he is my doc. Well, I go to his office anyways. Before we get to the details of the walk that's taking place on May the 11th, 150 minutes of exercise per week is recommended. What we're doing right now, although we are walking a little bit slow, is this considered physical activity?
It's definitely considered physical activity. Is it the recommended requirements? That's another story.
Okay.
They basically 150 minutes of moderate physical activity is what's required.
So how do you know if it's moderate? You're breathing a little bit heavy?
A little bit heavier. I mean, not being able to speak a full sentence is another rule of thumb.
Okay.
Again, with anybody that's ever or is starting an exercise or physical activity regimen, you may want to check with your family doctor about whether you're able to do these things. But having said that, if you're basically trying to do more of that every day. I mean, that's the big push, is to be physical or physically active every day.
It almost comes down, you have a choice. You can get out there and get active, or you can get to the point where you need pills to stay healthy.
That's a well put. I mean, the best pill is actually in what we're doing right now, activity. And we'll talk a bit more about the health benefits of physical activity, or am I supposed to
go ahead and do it now? We got another minute.
We got
always
minutes?
Go long.
There you go. So I mean, again, physical activity has such a huge impact. As a doctor that does lifestyle medicine, I mean, what better pill will help your mood, reduce anxiety and stress,
so true.
Improve arthritis, help you sleep better, improve your cardiac health, reduce your diabetes risk, help blood pressure. I mean, again, the list, I haven't even finished that list. I mean, we could be here for another hour.
Yeah, and the objectives aren't then to get into the skinny jeans. Those are just bonuses if that happens, and that's not an indication of good health. It's all those other things that matter and make the difference in your life.
Exactly.
I haven't been to the gym in 3 days, and I am a grumpy today, I tell you.
Well, we better do some more walking.
We better run a little bit faster. I'll run around this park, I tell you, when I change my shoes. We're going to throw things over now to Jen Morenit. She's going to introduce us to a Victoria woman who has invented a new product that will make vision care more affordable. You know, I actually need glasses. I don't wear them, or contacts. That's something I'll fix in the next couple of months. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. I got a t-shirt, Walk with Your Doc, and on the back it says, Doctor. I think I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this one. Walk with Your Doc takes place here at Maffeo Sutton Park on May the 11th, beginning at 11 a.m. Just drop in. There's lots of free prizes that'll be given away, and the health benefits of taking a stroll with members of your community. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with more on Go. Still ahead today on Go Island, the North Island Zone Theater Festival is in Nanaimo, and rail enthusiasts and engineers in this week's road trip. That and more still ahead today on Go Island. You're watching watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. A beautiful, sunny, warm, windy day here at Maffeo Sutton Park. And maybe these would be the conditions on May the 11th for Walk with Your Doc. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Marcus Barron is a resident family physician working at the hospital and the Medical Arts Center downtown in Nanaimo. And one of the things I read about this, it's up to doctors to be leaders in our community and set examples. And how is Walk with Your Doc doing that?
Well, as a family doctor in training, I want to do everything I can to get people healthy and to keep them healthy. And so if people are coming to me saying, how can I be healthy? Really the best single thing you can do for your health is to be active.
And that includes out getting some fresh air and
out walking your dog, going for a rollerblade, really anything where you feel like you're getting a little bit out of breath, maybe having trouble finishing a full sentence. That's a good moderate amount of activity.
Now, why such a focus on walking? And how much should you walk? What is considered a good distance, a good pace? I know we're walking pretty slow right now.
Yeah, well, this probably wouldn't qualify as moderate activity.
Darn.
But the reason that we really focus on walking is because it's cheap. Everybody can do it. It's not like you have to make a big plan. You can just walk out your door and there you are getting activity. And as for how much you walk, well, you can grab a pedometer. You can pick them up at any store, really.
And they're giving away a bunch of them on May 11th at the Walk with Your Doc event.
Exactly. So if you can shoot for 10,000 steps a day, it sounds like a lot, but you might be surprised how many you take anyway.
How much does the average person take? Is there a number for an average?
The average person, well, I've seen anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000, but it really depends on the community and such.
So those little things, park your car a little bit away from the front door and get those extra steps in there. I keep interrupting you.
But another good gauge is to just shoot for maybe a half an hour a day for adults of activity. For kids, an hour a day is a good thing to target. Or you can get these great bracelets here as well, 5210. That's a rule for kids. So that's a code. We go around to the schools here in town teaching kids this 5210. That's at least 5 fruits and vegetables a day, no more than 2 hours of screen time, at least 1 hour of exercise, and 0 sweetened drinks.
Ooh, that's a hard one.
It's a hard one. It's a challenge we put to kids to bring home to their families, to make the whole family healthier and happier.
Well, you have an opportunity to walk with these docs and some others in Nanaimo through Maffeo Sutton Park on May the 11th. They're going to talk about how, well, weight isn't necessarily an indicator of your level of health. We'll talk to Derek Potterico later about that on this edition of Go Island. In the meantime, we're taking to the stage. Nanaimo Theatre Group is hosting the Island Zone Festival for Theatre this year. We're going to look into what you can expect on stage in the festival and what it's like to host it. The North Island Zone Theatre Festival starts on Monday, May the 13th, runs through until Friday the 17th. Performances start at 7:30 at the Bailey Studio, and for all of the details, you can visit the Nanaimo Theatre Group website. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Today, we've been walking and talking because Walk with Your Doc is taking place here in Maffeo Sutton Park on May the 11th. And this is a doctor, Dr. Derek Potterico, and he is a lifestyle specialist, lifestyle medicine. And one of the things I've learned from any time that I've spent with Derek is the most important thing you can do in your life for your health, mental and physical, is get out there and be active and engage in some form of physical activity. And you only need to do about a half an hour a day?
Half an hour of physical activity a day in the form of walking can keep the doctor away. As said,
not that we wouldn't want to see you, but you can do that on May 11th when you're walking.
Exactly, and as said, as doctors, we tell our patients in the office, you know, you should get more activity. We're going to walk a walk and talk a talk, or talk a talk and walk a walk on the 11th. So if you have a doctor that you need to get them out to the 11th, because that's what we're doing. It's a whole Nanaimo event that we're encouraging docs and everyone alike, patients included, to come out to the walk on Saturday.
Why is it so important, so much focus on the walking aspect of it? And you'd think that maybe 30 minutes of walking at a moderate pace really isn't going to make that much of a difference.
It's amazing that the research behind it all. I mean, it's obvious, but yet maybe it's not. There's a wonderful video on YouTube, I've mentioned before. It's called 23.5 Hours. It's by a Dr. Mike Evans out of Toronto, and basically it shows in 9 minutes, sort of in a video format, the health benefits of walking. It's obvious, but yet we've got lots of research to prove that too. So if you have 9 minutes and don't want to walk, check 23.5 Hours out on YouTube.
Okay.
Because again, it'll just show you the evidence. And then again, the evidence is that I would just challenge you. This is Walk with the Doc week starting this next week. Okay. Try and get out daily. If you can't get out a half an hour, even 5 or 10 minutes. That's what we're asking patients to do through this week. And then it's going to culminate on the Saturday here at Maffeo, Sutton.
One of the things about that video is that it really made it a bit of a no-brainer, if I could say it that way, from what I recall, is that there's 24 hours in a day. Do whatever else you want for 23.5 of those hours. You can sit, you can sleep, you can watch TV, whatever it is you want to do for 23.5 hours, but just half an hour out of every 24. Is that the concept of it?
That's the concept, exactly.
Okay.
That half an hour, I mean, again, you can have some fun, put the iPod on and get out the door, take your friends, take your family, because as I said, these are all things that are easy to build into a day, and the nice thing is it's free. It's so accessible.
Nice to be out in the environment. We're going to talk about one more thing before we take a short break and go to our Get Up and Go calendar. Being overweight doesn't necessarily mean that you're unhealthy. Is that true?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I just come back from the Canadian Obesity Conference in Vancouver, and there's a new shift in the culture. I mean, I know our culture is always trying to get us to be thin and beautiful, and again, we're all beautiful in any shape and size, and that's the new concept, at healthy at every size. BMI, these are numbers that your doctor will sort of use to guide and chart your weight. But that's the funny thing, is that individuals that are overweight are not necessarily unhealthy. They can live as long and healthy lives as the thin, if you want to call it that.
That's a hard concept to grasp.
It is, well, for me even at this conference, but the thing is, as long as you don't have medical complications, I mean, if you're having sugar issues, diabetes, pre-diabetes, high blood pressure, lipid issues, yes, they need to be worked on. But the neat thing is, exercise still is the prescription across the board. Right. So if you're overweight, it should not be a, I need to be skinnier to be out exercising. There's almost a barrier for some individuals. So that's why Saturday is a big inclusive event. Shapes and sizes, ages, I mean, come on down to Maffeo Sutton. It's free, and we'll be here, and hopefully you guys will be too.
Awesome. That's Saturday, May the 11th, 11 o'clock here at Maffeo Sutton Park. Here now is your Get Up and Go calendar. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4, and May the 11th in downtown Nanaimo is turning into the place to be. There's the Haven Society's Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. It's moving from Labio down to downtown Commercial Street, starting at Dynacol Plaza, I believe, at 11:30. And then you also have Walk with Your Doc. And if you want to, well, be a picture of good health, the one thing you can do to help create that frame is take more steps, do more walking. It's better than any pill, physical activity. And that takes place, Walk with Your Doc, May 11th, 11 a.m. here at Maffeo Sutton Park. It is windy today, but beautiful nonetheless. We're going to throw things over now to Dunya Tozy. It's a road trip where a passionate model train enthusiasts and engineers are putting together a whole experience for kids and adults alike. Here's Dunya. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. 9,999, 10,000 steps. That's what you want to get to. Actually, I probably put in about 15,000 steps, and I'm actually just faking it for TV because I only got this thing. Dr. Derek Potterico gave me one, and you might get one yourself at Walk with Your Doc on May the 11th. And I'm going to start testing out how many steps in a day I take, because I'm sure I'm closer to 20,000 than 10,000. Remember, I have little kids and I work. There's not much time sitting around, that's for sure. Anyways, I digress as usual. Thanks for watching this edition of Go Island. We'll see you downtown on May the 11th.